Facebook group, one of our Facebook. No, no, no. Was it on your MI
No,
thread in your personal
no, I
account?
think it may have been on the Facebook group.
Who
Yeah, I
said
think
that the Mission Impossible theme is based on Morse code?
yeah, dot
No,
dot
it's
dash
it's
dash
a
dot dot.
parang meme that's been going around. It was presented to the
Oh.
cast in some press thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm.
If
Yeah,
it is
galing.
indeed true.
Yeah, Mr. Lalo
Lalo
Schifrin. What an
Schifrin,
amazing,
rest in
amazing
peace.
scorer. Okay, we have Mission Impossible Final Reckoning out in theaters now, starring the inimitable Tom Cruise, directed by
Irreplaceable,
irreplaceable. Uh,
inevitable,
Di siya
he's
immortal.
inimitable.
inevitable.
Inimitate siya ni Ben Stiller in a classic MTV Movie Awards skit.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Which we will get to also in a bit. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie and co-written by Christopher McQuarrie.
His work wife,
Um,
work husband.
yes. Grabe, no? Like, have you listened to interviews of them together?
Yep.
Yes, they
It's
finish
like,
each other's sentences, pretty
oh, you know?
much. I would love to
Naalala ko
find a love like that.
naalala ko yung si The Wolf sa Pulp Fiction ka, gentlemen, let's not suck each
Start
other's
sucking
dicks
each other's dicks quite yet.
just yet. Because that's all they do. Like, talk about how brilliant the other person is. But yes, to have a love like that. Um, should we go over the plot of Final Reckoning? I don't
Who
even know.
cares?
Who cares? Yes.
Who cares?
Yes. Who
You know,
cares? And we will
I
also
was
get to that
so
point.
stupid. I thought Sebastopol happened 2 weeks before Dead Reckoning. Yung pala 12 years. 12 years ago pala yun.
Uh-oh.
They didn't explain anything.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh my
anyway.
God. Anyway, basta.
Basta ganun na yun.
Yeah, Ethan Hunt has the cruciform key,
Yeah.
and he needs it to, open up Sebastopol. And what does he need from the Sebastopol? I don't
Who
even fucking
knows?
The
know.
source
Okay.
code.
The source
The
code.
Knox list. Who
so he
knows? Rabbit foot.
What did you guys think of Final Reckoning?
First of all, I watched it on a Tuesday afternoon. I had no idea it was senior day at Alabang Town Center.
What did you watch it in Alabang Town Center? The worst.
Because the timing was perfect.
Okay.
I like the times. But then I was beside a bunch of seniors who just talk throughout the movie, especially
Oh,
because
man.
they did not understand what was going on. And all they could say was, ang tanda na ni Tom Cruise, who is maybe their age right now. I don't know. Parang, shut up. I shushed them. I really did.
Wow.
You're older than me. You should know what movies are, right?
I wonder if, it added to your experience. It add to your experience or detract?
Mas immersive sa
tuned
IMAX
them-
yun.
Tune them out na lang. Discounted tickets, okay, support Tom Cruise, and puno yung cinema, so
Puno ng seniors.
puno ng seniors.
Puno ng seniors.
Who were all
Oh,
trying to
Ramon is
figure
the
out
Daw?
only one.
Mga
what
ganun.
is
Ano daw?
cruciform?
Ano daw? Ano nangyayari?
Well, you and I have shared our thoughts on Final Reckoning. We both
On
don't know.
Letterboxd.
Yeah, and with each other on the group, but yeah, we don't know what Ramon's thoughts are. So let's
Wait,
suspense
we
is
have to
killing me.
say, assuming that people don't know what we've shared. Oh, Quark, what was your...
No,
sharing?
we'll share pa rin after.
Okay,
di ba?
okay. So Ramon muna,
pero Ramon,
kaya.
yeah.
Alright.
oo.
So of course we're all huge fans of the franchise. And it came out in the Philippines earlier than it did
17th.
in
And the
the
global
States.
premiere 23rd.
Yeah, so yeah, I was like trying to avoid spoilers. I couldn't be at the press screening, of course, because I was in the States. I couldn't get tickets to the 70 millimeter IMAX because it was all sold out because it was like my second to last day there. So when I got home, syempre Andor muna, pero as soon as I could, I got tickets to an IMAX screening and watched it, and it's a mess. Basically, it's kind of, genuinely, I was really like disappointed in terms of like, because this and Dead Reckoning 1, which now has no Dead Reckoning 2, They
No,
were
they took out
co-written.
one already in all like the
No,
posters.
well, they
Oh,
did in the posters, but if you watch it on HBO
yeah,
Max,
it's
formerly
You
still
can
there.
Max,
They're
listen
not
a
gonna be able to
Cineswipe
take
oh,
that
yan, but
out.
on Letterbox it's one. It's
uh,
Dead Reckoning period.
yeah. Did you
Okay.
notice when you review on Letterbox, you get a
Ah,
mission?
aliw. Anyway.
Anyway,
Dead
So
yeah,
this
Reckoning.
it was
one,
a
Dead
mess.
Reckoning, and this one were co-written with Eric something, and I don't know. Parang it's mean. It's mean naman to just say who's the new factor. He must be to blame. So, but yeah, these two scripts kasi have been very. It has that feeling that Mission had before Macquarie came in, 'di ba?
Mm.
Parang Macquarie kind of cemented his status as the mission guy because he figured out like the connective tissue between all these crazy action set pieces in Ghost Protocol. So this one, I especially more than even DRP1, I was like, why is the why are the scene transitions like this? It's just like, you know, parang assembly cut pa rin eh. Did that
Uh,
feel like, like the tones would change, and then there's so much. Sometimes the editing was very almost freshman graduate, uh that kind of, let's do fast cuts, it's the 90s baby, parang gana. Yung mga, and there's so much flashbacking that just felt unnecessary, and too much of the let's connect it to every single prior chapter because it's the end. Like we don't need that. It drags down. And normally Macquarie's very good at, sort of killing your darlings. If it's slowing down the film, take it out. This needed that. It's the longest of the 8 films, and it really could have removed so much unnecessary exposition and just flashing back and making sure na, oh, remember parang one of the only sort of interesting or cool conceits with Abrams MI3 is that they never explain what the rabbit's foot is, because that's kind of the point, diba? He's always going to be chasing after something. It doesn't matter. It's just the beauty of the chase and the antagonist, which was Piho, and because you're going to run out of, oh, it's, what is it, a virus this time, like in 2, or another bomb in 1. I mean, it's kind of crazy that when the nuclear bomb came out in Final Reckoning, I was like, again? Didn't we just do a nuclear bomb in the
Fallout.
airport in DRP1? Di ba? Parang,
And
it even,
Fallout it was
yeah,
a
and it
major
looks the
plot
same.
point.
Like, parang, are there just discount nuclear bombs everywhere now?
everywhere.
So parang, yeah, I don't know. It just felt like, I don't know if they had medyo lost some fuel in the tank as far as narrative, elements, because normally I have fun with those. And I can't, of course, find any blame with the action and stunt set pieces, which are continue to be amazing. Although I remember while watching this one, it didn't even feel like mission until like the last hour. There was
Mm-hmm.
this aspect with the entity. Again, the problem
Oh
also is
my
the,
god, I hate that fucking scene.
so there's
The
this problem with the both the entity and Gabriel, if I may be
Gabriel.
honest. I'm sorry to Isai Morales, but you were just never interesting. You were not engaging. And I hated, he was kind of like very old serial
yeah,
mustache
must
twirling
yeah.
villain. Di ba? Parang, parang, what? He's like,
And I didn't understand his motivations.
yeah. I
Yeah.
remember that flashback diba, in DRP1 where he killed this woman.
Yeah.
Like narratively, I don't know if you guys felt the same. I thought this movie would open with that scene.
I mean,
Just to
it's
Na,
explain it,
3 hours,
right?
yeah,
yeah. But apparently,
explaining.
according to McHugh, he did shoot that.
Oh,
Okay,
he
so
But
shot the
he
explainer.
shot the explainer. But
Okay.
he's like,
that's what
anything
he
you
cut
had
and not
questions
all the.
about. Yeah, yeah, nope. But we're gonna have that, sensory deprivation tank scene with the with the
Oh,
entity.
so, it's hard to be engaged with something faceless, even though I applaud, generally that the mission is to defeat AI, and an interesting side effect
Tom
is to
Cruise hates AI.
com-
Period.
and the interesting side effect was like, oh, if you defeat the entity, you're gonna turn off the internet forever, and it's like, yes.
Grabe, no? And then you have to get it in in a hundredth of a millisecond while yung
Oh,
mga challenges.
like kulang na lang is like they splash the cover of Walter Murchis in the blink of an eye. If you're gonna plug the book that much, diba? There's this crazy part where in the blink of an eye, and then 2 minutes later they flash back to the scene in the blink of an eye. I just saw it. Parang my memory's not that bad.
Yeah.
You just did a whole first 20 minutes on how many years since 96, since the first movie, and then you're gonna give me a flashback to something from 2 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah. You felt the same, Mel.
I did,
Yeah.
but I want to preface it by saying, and I put this in I think in my review, that for me,
Bad.
there's no bad Mission
I agree.
Impossible
I
film.
agree.
There
In
are
fact,
not good. They're not as good as the
Yeah.
pinnacle of Mission Impossible movies. But if you put this beside like Extraction, I think it's the same. It's not
My
bad. It's good
yeah.
entertainment.
Yeah.
my complaints really stem from the fact that Fallout and Rogue are probably my favorites, and
Mamaya
they
na yung
were
faves.
and they were so kinocontextualize ko yung complaints ko. So that's why I think parang where was this elegance here?
Yeah.
But like again, I'm such a fan of the franchise, and I want the best for it, which is why I feel like
We all want the best,
it
yeah.
was so delayed, and I don't know why
Yeah.
it still felt like it was rushed in post. I guess that
What
was the
was what
feeling.
was the budget? 350 million?
It
Something
was
like
like
that?
400 na because they actually started
400
shooting,
million.
and he kept them employed and paid during the COVID, not just
Yeah.
like the strikes. So it was
Yeah.
like 5 years they've been working on these two movies.
And
So that's why
almost
the
recoup everything in 2 weeks.
oh, that's why
So
they
good
were
on ya.
that's why they were so bonded. Basically, it was like trauma bonding almost. Imagine
Yeah.
going through COVID and the strikes, and then the strikes happened, so they couldn't promote even
Yeah.
that properly.
So the bad news is, kasalanan talaga ni Macquarie yun, actually, all the complaints. and this other super complaint I have, very annoying, which is when they do the exposition dumps.
Oh my
And
gosh.
it's the fucking,
The
and they're
worst.
all talking, finishing each other's sentences. And
Hate it.
apparently,
They
you got
parang,
the rabbit's, what's the rabbit's foot? Oh, the anti-god. Oh, la la la.
did they
How
do it
many
10
times did they say
times? Parang
anti-god?
they did it 10 times.
Yeah, they even did it with diba? Si what's the A24 movie girl? Si submarine team.
Katie O'Brien.
Yeah.
They do it a lot, and apparently, um, you know that guy Josh Horowitz when
Yeah.
he's an interviewer and he's like Mr. Know
Yeah,
It
yeah.
All.
Yeah.
He likes showing how much he knows. He did an hour interview with Macquarie and he said, "Was any of this inspired by feedback from Dead Reckoning?" And what Macquarie said is that, well, to be honest, it's like people get lost and you just kind of have to tell them exactly what happened.
It's a
Oh,
Netflixification of
It's a
things.
Netflix, yeah. And then so basically, it's audience tested. It's kind of like, I know, parang you have to have the exposition dump, and there was
long
so much
sigh.
exposition dump, right? But well, also, in my opinion, parang I feel like you could have just started in Sevastopol because in the end of Dead
Sebastopol.
Rectum, yeah,
Yeah.
in the end
Dead
of Dead
Rectum.
Reckoning,
I would
Dead
watch
Rectum,
that one.
Dead
the end of
rectuming, okay.
Rectuming, they say, "Diba, I have to go to the Sevastopol now." And then I think it even ends with a shot of the
Yeah.
freaking submarine.
But
So,
then
but
it
you could
doesn't
have cut.
explain why he has long hair in this one. Okay, anyway.
So yeah, diba, he's had the freaking what do you
Cruciform
call it? The
key.
cruciform for what has he been doing for 4 months?
growing
4 months ba?
hair.
But or
Hair
2 months.
doesn't grow
Well,
that fast. I would say a year.
Well, it does if you're Ethan Hunt. I mean,
yeah,
I
grabe,
agree,
diba?
I
So
agree, I agree.
yeah,
They should have started with Sebastopol.
I mean,
Completely.
also, so there's this part, diba? So the beginning is entity this, entity that, exposition, exposition, talking, talking, and then I realized this is like the most boring mission in ever.
Yes, I was
Kasi
looking at my phone a
I
lot.
realized the first action scene is just the sort of extraction of Paris. So he's
Yeah.
fighting his own people in the first action scene. And then the other thing is I love Pom, but why they do that to her character? Like once you extract her, let her do something interesting. Parang she was just dull after that.
Yeah.
Or wala
I like
masyadong
her though. I like
personality.
her in the series.
She's a
And
good
pero Dega
actress.
also, parang, what
Yeah,
the fuck?
parang ano yun,
Bakit?
'di ba? Ano yung contribution nyo apart from being pretty? 'Di ba? Because there's this other problem where they kept casting all these people and then I don't need to know everyone's backstory. Parang why am I being introduced to Hannah Waddingham when she's just going to throw him to Travis to bisexual submarine, and then bisexual submarine also get their own like little, here's my
Yeah.
crew, and then it's fun.
Listen, you should not complain about Tramel Tillman because I thought
You
he
will
was the
take
best
note,
part.
Tramel Tillman,
I
No, I
thought he
mean
was
I,
the
I
best
love
part of
slander.
bisexual Red Hot,
he's
Red
amazing
October.
in it, pero it's like you just I think na are they gonna do more? Yeah, but they're the drivers of this thing. Although, and
Yeah.
then
It's
There's
such lazy
15 people,
writing.
15 characters too much. They could have
yeah,
removed the
Yeah.
four people
so
in that submarine for
you
sure.
have the entity.
Hannah
It felt
Waddingham.
very SF, and then the sub, which was great, but also felt like horror.
Mm.
So that's why it was like it didn't really feel like mission until the last hour.
Tapos ang
You didn't
daming plot
appreciate the
holes, diba?
yeah
Like
yeah yeah.
them literally walking around everywhere without any disguises. Where the entity could
Yeah,
recognize like, oh well, they're here. I mean, mas nakakatakot yung entity or yung evil AI sa Fast and Furious 7 or whatever. Remember
it's
that? Where
Eagle Eye starring
or
Or
Eagle
even
Shia.
Eye.
ano, Langley guy. He's been in hiding. He's been in the Arctic
Yeah.
for 15 years, but he's still tech savvy. He knows everything that's going on. Or
Yeah, so there was a it felt too pat. Parang let's shoehorn, let's close the loop. Like these weren't
fan
dangling
service
threads, diba?
also.
Parang
Yeah.
I didn't need to know what Don Lowe has been up to. I mean, it's sweet, but yeah, I mean, and then they get to the doomsday bunker of Josh Oppenheimer's the end. So that's where the finale takes place. It's like okay,
Yeah. Can the stakes of a Mission Impossible movie be too high?
It would have been higher
there
if
are no
they had
stakes,
kept
Akio.
Rebecca
No,
Ferguson.
the future of the world. I
No,
feel nga
isa
parang,
pa yan. It was so genuinely, it was like, it felt lame to see the flags on the nuclear bombs. Three different occasions. Like, ano to, United Colors of Terrorism? Di ba? Parang,
Parang Armageddon.
yeah.
It
It's
reminded
Medj.
me of
really
It's,
it's
Armageddon.
yeah,
really bad writing. And
that's a,
I mean, yeah,
it's,
considering
I, I,
sorry.
I'm- I just don't expect this from McHugh. Eh. If this was
Yeah.
Fast and Furious, I would see that scene, diba?
Yeah.
Or Michael Bay, but it's not. It's like you guys, alam mo yun, parang you were at the Andor school already of like
Yeah.
don't parang treat the audience as smart, which he said in multiple Empire podcasts,
Mm.
diba? And then suddenly, oh, people get lost. I need 50 minutes of fucking exposition and flashbacking. It's that meme about that scene in Walk Hard where you have to give Dewey Cox a moment, son. He got to think about his whole life before he can get on stage. Parang ganun.
How did you guys find Haley Atwell, who I think is so miscast?
No, and then the fact that they were always saying pa naman na parang, oh, we've been wanting to work with Haley for 10 years. We just saw something in her that we've been waiting for the right moment for them. Like, what did you see in Haley Atwell? Like, she
Ako,
is,
I like Haley, but it just pales
To Rebecca
after
Ferguson.
after
Oh my
Ilsa, who
gosh.
was basically perfect na for
yeah.
the character and for Ethan as a character.
Yeah.
So
Tapos ang labo ng ano,
unfortunately,
no? Decompression scene. like
yung
showing her
dream.
cleavage.
Her
Yeah.
cleavage.
Yeah. Like,
Alam
what the
mo,
fuck is...
if you're gonna shoot in IMAX, you have to use, the tools you have
Yeah,
at
gotta
hand.
show your...
But
Maximize
why kill off Rebecca Ferguson? I
because
don't
she wanted
understand.
out,
That was it.
basically. He said this in an interview. Basically, see Rebecca was offered like because everyone signed for I think 3 pictures.
Okay.
That's the standard contract when you join.
So she has
So
Rogue, Fallout, and Dead Reckoning. So that's
yes,
three
and
na.
then she was offered like the another option, and then she politely, gently passed. Like she said,
Wow.
she loves them, and she has also discussed this. Parang what she said was, I love them, but these are grueling movies talaga. Like yun nga, they sabi niya, I've done 2 Dunes and 2 seasons of Silo, and they're still doing the thing, the one movie. So parang it was just
Yeah.
a brutal schedule, which kind of happens when yun nga, they're shooting the action sequences and stunt sequences before they have the connecting tissue script.
Yeah.
So yeah. Unfortunately, that meant, they had to exit her character, and also they
Oh
weren't going to
man,
do
she
this
was great.
thing. Sayang talaga, no? Pero they weren't going to do this thing
And did you get
na
emotional at all? Like,
No.
did you, not all in the
ako
film,
I
during the
did.
film?
Ah no,
I did in the
in
briefing.
final
Oh,
or
the
dead?
ako the beginning
Are you
when they
talking about
flashed all the MI movies,
ako
Yeah,
no?
when
the
President Angela
montage.
Bassett said, Ethan, yeah, para may palangkaleta siya to Ethan. I kind of got emotional, but
Kulang. Akala ko you
yeah.
meant Dead Reckoning, like when they exited
Ah,
Ilsa's
yeah,
character. We've discussed that in that episode of that one.
yeah.
Yeah, I
But
thought she would come back because she's really the best.
have you seen? Okay, so spoiler. Like, let's hit it, Scarlett.
Spoiler alert! Don't listen if you haven't seen the movie.
But have you seen these memes where people are like insisting na the final shot she's with
She's
him,
alive.
parang ganon, and I'm like, it's such a reach na because and then there's an
What's the
interview
final
also.
shot? Oh,
He
the one
he
in
disappears
London.
into the crowd,
Oh,
but
in
he's beside
Trafalgar
this.
Square.
Oh,
Okay.
which is also does not make sense, no? Parang, let's go to an entirely different country just to exchange some fucking winks and nods. Ang mahal kaya ng airfare. Um, ano to? So parang McHugh in an interview has said na, yeah, I'm not bringing her back. That's like that
Dead
cheapens
means dead.
everything. Oh, parang yeah, and he said that nga,
Yeah.
death means death. Pero okay, so were you guys emotional with Luther?
No,
No.
not even the letter in the end. And this is a
The letter
point I
was so
have to.
long.
Just how they wrote it. Talagang,
He's, di
oh
ba,
god.
Makio's usually
Yeah.
very good. Like,
Yeah.
yun nga, parang, it maybe been, it's a little bit unfair then because I saw this right after Andor. So it's like so much great dialogue still in my head. And then it's like, why is this so long? It's not, where's the brevity?
And I just felt that they were throwing away these beloved characters. Like they weren't being given a
Yeah.
proper send off.
Ang pilit ng ano, no,
Tapos ang
ng
weird pa yung
connecting.
sudden, ano?
Ang pilit ng connecting, like freaking Shea Wiggum being Jim Phelps' son. Like, what are
Yeah,
you guys
What is
doing?
this?
unnecessary.
I know
Are
your
you?
name isn't like that. It's blah 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 blah.
Alam mo
It's
pala
not
eh,
brick.
parang, wow.
Oh my God.
Where did this come
It's
from? Why?
Diba?
wala.
Parang,
It's a pathetic attempt talaga to kind of like tie everything together.
yeah.
But
And it felt it felt like a weaker franchise's attempt at being like MCU type na, oh,
yeah,
this
Oh yeah,
great
yeah,
world
assemble.
we've created. Oh,
Yeah.
parang they
yeah.
guys Luther's kid, parang hindi. I mean, and then ang weird na parang in the span between the last movie and this, parang may terminal illness na si Luther, which dampens
I
the death.
know.
Yeah.
'Di ba?
So
Parang
wait, it wasn't my imagination. He didn't have that
Yeah.
in Dead
no.
Reckoning, right?
Yeah.
And he has that
Labo,
great
ang
speech
labo.
pa for Ilsa and DPR1, 'di ba? So parang yeah, and yun nga, parang so when it's time for Luther to be the guy, it's like you don't feel as bad because he was gonna die anyway. I mean, of course, go out
Uh,
nobly, diba? Instead of,
yeah.
anyway.
I don't know if you guys saw the latest interview with Tom Cruise. He said that they shoot the stunts first
Yes.
And then they
I
because
didn't
figure
see
out
the
the
interview, but
story.
that's been happening
no,
since Ghost
because in
Protocol.
case he dies
Oo.
during the stunt, they can rewrite the script.
Oh my
And
So
then
God.
they
that's
do the most dangerous ones first, and then
but
Okay, to
grabe
be
yung
fair,
Mm.
I know. I watched it. I watched it with Bianca, who's just a casual viewer, and I watched it with two other friends who I don't think one of them had not seen one since maybe three, and another her
Wow.
husband. So I
Many
know,
things have
parang,
happened since
but they
then.
loved it. They all loved it, the three of
Oh,
them, and
that's
I'm like,
good. That's good.
okay. And I guess it's because of the stunts talaga. It's because of
Oh yeah.
And
the
TC, I mean, he's
submarine and
so earnest when he acts as Ethan
yeah.
Hawke. Ethan Hawke tuloy,
So
Ethan Hunt.
yeah.
Galing
So
niya si Ethan Hawke.
diba? So nag-work. In fairness kay Mokyu, nag-work yung thesis statement nila na
Lol.
let's just dumb it down and then and
Sa akin lang,
explain everything.
sa akin lang is, even if you're dumbing it down, it didn't need to be 2 hours 50. Like, keep the stunts because, yes, that's what keeps everyone happy. And, again, some of the most incredible stunts you've ever seen. Amazing on IMAX.
Yeah.
Especially like when you didn't see it in IMAX, no, Mel, but IMAX kayo, Quark, in
Yeah.
Singapore. So that
When he
scene where,
opens the ano,
yeah, I was like,
the
yeah,
sub
boy,
and
it's
then
like Sinners na, like, and gay, diba, parang make it part of the scene if you can. Why not? It's so cool. That made me like, oh, that's just kind of made you feel like a child again. Like, it even stops when he has to stop and then, diba, move
yeah.
his arms
That sub
back.
one was really, really good. That sub
And
scene.
the
Yeah.
score,
And it
the
was so
sound
quiet,
design of
diba?
the
Yeah.
sub scene was
You're
great.
right, Ramon. They shot it like a horror and
Yeah, the
really
choral,
great. Yeah.
not choral as in underwater, but like, a choir.
Yeah.
Oh, just like Gregorian monks just telling you you're going to die underwater.
But again, there's no bad MI film. I think
None.
MIT.
it's still the
Yeah.
True.
the pinnacle of action franchises. We'll never see something like this again, I
And
feel.
what's interesting
Alas.
is I look at the rankings, right, of people. There's also wildly different. It's not like, for example, Star Wars or Marvel even. Na parang, okay,
Right.
yung top three is more or less the same. A lot of it are wildly
Personal.
different.
Wildly
Yeah,
Wildly
very
wrong?
personal
personal.
choices. Because iba yung choice ni Ramon, iba yung choice ko, iba yung choice
Yeah.
mo rin.
What?
Yeah. So I know. So let's get to
Let's
that. Let's get to
inspect
the
that.
rank. That
Just to
you
explain to people, well, I don't know about Ramon, but I know Quark and I watched all 7 movies prior to watching 8.
And Ramon did
so
not because he
Because you've seen
watched.
it. You've
but he watched it
seen.
No, he
before
watched them
Fallout.
all
Yeah,
before
exactly.
Fallout.
Yeah.
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 Before Fallout, I watched 3, 4, 5. And then now I watched everything. And despite us bitching for maybe the past 45 minutes about Final Reckoning, it's actually not the last.
It's not the last. That's right.
It's not the last. The last is directed by our neighbor in Hong Kong, Mr. John Woo, and that is Mission Impossible 2. Why did you guys? Okay, by the way, again, we don't. You guys don't know the ranking of this yet. Basically, what happens is I ask for everyone's ranking, and if this is your number one, I give it 1 point. If this is your number two, I give it 2 points. And then the ones with the lowest score is actually number one.
Yeah, it's
So this
Quark's
is the one
fancy
with.
pants way of tallying things.
So this is
Okay,
the
you have an
number. Yeah.
MBA.
8 plus 8 plus 8. It's unanimous. So it is all over number 8.
8.
But
Yeah.
again,
Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
there are no bad missions.
Yes.
There's just the least in awesomeness.
Uh, so yeah.
I didn't
see?
even finish my rewatch. Like I turned it
What?
off. Yeah, I
Grabe.
was just,
How can
I
you
can't
do
It
watch
that
gets
to
it.
good.
Naya Noda
I
Fall?
can't finish this. I think I turned it off after the doves and the motorcycle.
No, because I was watching and I kept on laughing, and Bianca was, "Why are you laughing at this film?" And then it's like, no, it's just funny because if you know John Woo, right, all of the things come. There's smoke, there's water. In one
The
film
doves.
he even has doves, right? And then like literally the next scene, my doves.
My
So
doves.
that's why I kept howling. Like, okay, it does feel like. Number one, it feels like Mission. It feels James Bond. It feels like John Woo's James Bond,
Yeah.
and it feels like more of a sequel to Face Off than it actually
Yes.
does to Mission
Felt like Face
Impossible.
Off.
Diba? He's very different here. He's like
He's a
fucking women.
jerk. Oh my gosh.
Misogynist, both him, well, all of the characters are misogynists. Basically, Anthony Hopkins in his only Mission Impossible role. And then, basta parang, like, what about Tandy Newton's character? Oh, she's sleeping with the target. Isn't that what she's good for? I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this script?
So I turn it off. I can't.
Wow. Masyado lang
Written by Robert
by.
Down,
Oh,
by the way.
No. Really? I didn't
Written-
even look at the credits.
script is by Robert Down, and then I think the story is by Ronald Moore, who,
BSG.
yeah, Battlestar Galactica, Outlander, all of those things.
What was the pitch to Cruise, right? Because this isn't
This is
I
the
don't know.
era na it was still they were looking at it almost like Alien, where where every entry was a new director and they can
Yeah.
do basically, what they want with it. And then that stopped with Ghost Protocol because once he found McHugh, it was like, oh, di ba, parang ito na yung
Love
beginning
at
of
first
like
sight.
ikaw na
Nag-imprint na
yung
sila sa isa't
mission
isa.
guy, and then it's about family. It became that now where Benji's fully into the fold, etc., etc. But yeah, I mean I haven't rewatched it since before Fallout, but I still remember it as being stupid fun. Like again, there's that scene I have reenacted with Quark with less expensive cars, um, with where he basically has them dance while driving separate vehicles on cliff sides, and then there's of course the sort of behind the scenes drama, which is this is the reason why Dougray Scott is not
Yeah,
Wolverine.
I think that's the movie's contribution to the world.
Why is he not Wolverine?
Because he wouldn't be, he was taking, they were still shooting this,
Oh.
so he couldn't start.
So it
So
had
they
to
had to
be
cast their
Hugh
second
Jackman.
choice, Hugh Jackman.
That
Who
is the
was
big cultural shift.
apparently though, parang it kind of came down to the fact that Hugh Jackman was 6 feet. Parang ganon. Um,
Grabe, no?
pero,
Poor Doug Gray Scott.
poor Dougray. Um,
Um, ano pala, si Sandy Newton hated being in this movie, by the way.
I don't blame her.
So,
Her
yeah, I can
lines
see
were
yeah.
atrocious.
No, and what Tom Cruise would do. I mean, and this will come up a lot during these discussions. He's such a control freak pala that he was so unhappy with her performance that he said, especially the scene during the parang the black mass, diba? May procession sa labas, and they're
which was shot nicely.
yeah, excellently shot. Apparently, he's like, you do my parts. And he had her memorize Ethan Hunt's lines, and he played Tandy Newton. This is how I want you to act.
Please, I really need to see this cut. That's
Wow.
that's
Where
the
was this?
cut
Was this
I
in the
want.
director's
Like,
commentary? Where?
It's in one of those. If you look out for it. Yeah.
Wow.
There are Tandy Newton interviews where she mentions that.
I think 90s Cruise was really such a an acquired taste,
Yeah.
because that was the pinnacle. Because he was the same in Interview, right? He and Brad
Yeah,
can get
and
along.
Brad Pitt. No, and parang so apparently Oliver Stone was supposed to direct this. There's a podcast
What
called
kind
Light
of movie would that be? Oh my
for
god!
Mission Impossible fans. There's a podcast called Light the Fuse.
Oh, I've seen
and
that.
it's
Yeah. I've
and
seen
it's
that.
it's a film critic and a director, and they literally just interview everybody involved in all
Ganda.
of the Mission Impossible films. Like, and they're already on the episode 400 ata.
Wow.
So yeah. So stuff like the Robert Down script of the original, they uncovered the David Fincher, which is written pala by Frank Darabont. They talk about it. But what's great now is they have the makings of each of them, and they get snippets from all of these interviews, and then basically just talk about how
I was
the
curious
films-
about it. I wanted to check it
Yeah.
out. Frank Darabont, who is returning as a director,
Stranger
by the
Things,
way, to
yes.
Stranger Things. I really didn't like this movie at all, but I think it has the best Tom Cruise hair of the series.
It has also one of the best intros and one of the best
Oh, the rock
cheesiest
climbing.
like mission deliveries
Where was that?
yeah.
with the
Oh, in the rock,
Oakleys,
right?
man.
Yeah. And then he throws it towards the camera.
Yeah.
Which, of course, establishes that he is a lifelong rock climber and hence he has good hand grip and hence can hang from many things, buildings, planes,
That's
and whatever.
also, I remember this is also one of those movies with medyo insufferable exposition. Di ba with
Yeah.
Bellerophon.
The Chimera.
Oh.
So okay,
Okay.
that's number 8.
Anyway, number 8.
Number 7, okay, is yes, we've talked about it. Number 7 is actually Final Reckoning.
Is that
Wah, wah,
unanimous?
wah. It's not unanimous. It's
Oh,
actually my Final Reckoning is my number 6.
okay.
Um,
Wow, what was your number
yeah.
7?
My number 7 is Dead Reckoning, which
Which
is
was
your number
my
6.
number
Which is
6.
zero. So Dead Reckoning is our number 6. I actually, so when I watched Final Reckoning, I was like, oh my god, this is the second worst. This is the second least favorite one. But then I saw how all of my friends enjoyed, and then I saw another friend on Letterbox write about it, and then she super had fun, and then I realized, okay, Final Reckoning is bad storytelling, right? Unquestionable bad storytelling.
Mm.
Final Reckoning. But then it also made me think, but did I really give a shit about the story in Dead Reckoning anyway? So, which made me come to the conclusion I had more fun in Final Reckoning, even though Dead Reckoning is actually a better crafted movie. But if I'm just gonna sit here and watch Tom Cruise stunts, I'd probably go back to Final Reckoning more. But
Actually, I'm looking at my list now. I should have changed it. I should have switched my
Wow.
5 and 6. My 5 and 6. I should have.
Ako
Because that
ah,
naman,
was before I wrote out my final review for my rewatch.
sa
okay.
akin, it's just sort of balancing or weighing the pros and cons. Like, at least Dead Reckoning has more of Shea Whigham's hair. It has that excellent scene in Venice, the way it was shot. It has White Widow. It has the death of Ilsa, which is at least emotional. The problem lang talaga was Gabriel and the
The
entity.
Entity.
The entity was at least more menacing in in
Dead
DRP1.
Reckoning, yeah.
So and then yun nga, it doesn't have as much of those weak spots that Final Reckoning had. So that's why it's a clearer, better film for me in that regard.
I bumped Dead Reckoning by half a star because originally I gave it like 4.5, and then in the rewatch I realized it is a lesser movie than how I remember it from the cinema because I was like, oh my gosh, it's so long. I don't care about the entity at all or Gabriel. I don't like Haley Atwell. I think she has the worst costume. She looks like she's part of the Mummy, and it's the worst Tom Cruise haircut of
The
the
Rome car
series.
chase. Oh my god, that's amazing. Isa pa yan.
Yeah, I think it's funny how even though McHugh pretty much directed all the back half of the mission films, he and I think he says this in an interview, may attempt to be different each time,
Yeah, yeah. He
and this
So
is
mas
changes.
just
comedy si Dead Reckoning, ganon.
screwball
Yes,
comedy
screwball.
Screwball.
na
Because of
ano,
Rome.
Buster
Haha,
Keaton.
Roma, Roma. May ganyan.
Yeah, with his close up magic
Yeah.
again, the return of his close up magic, and the train scene, the parachuting into the dude,
Great set pieces.
yeah,
Just, yeah.
but yeah, sayang. I do think like if you actually and this is possible if you look at Rogue Nation and Fallout as parts 1 and parts 2 because they have Solomon Lane anyway,
Yeah.
and they deal with the syndicate. Parang that is a better two-parter than the final two-parter.
Dead and final.
Yeah. I adjusted your score, Mel, and made your Dead Reckoning your 6, right?
6.
Yeah, and then
And
I made 3
my
your
5.
5. Didn't change the ranking
Anything.
though, sadly, because
Sadly.
Mission 3 is my second favorite Mission Impossible film.
Wow.
Justice for
I'm
Mission
really quite
Impossible
surprised
3.
by that. But
Yeah,
I loved three.
yeah.
I loved three as the best until Rogue Nation, maybe, and then
Mm,
yeah. But I mean, again, there's no bad ones there, so it's just
mm,
ang hirap to, it's not like a fault basically
yeah.
against three.
But you know what? I wonder what a lot of the hardcore fans do not like. So the reason I love 3, and 3 is your number 3. 3 is my number 2.
Well, let's ask
So
Mel.
number
Why is
5.
that not
Yeah,
your?
yeah. What is it about 3 that?
uh I didn't like how he shot the action sequences, and I really don't like the 90s greenish tint. It looks like a not 90s, early 2000s
Mm,
look. Which for me, kasi an MI movie, it looks kind of timeless, and this kind of dates it by, looking like a 2000s Y2K film.
yung yung what do you call that when they take
Parang
a bleach
cross-crossing.
bypass?
Yeah, it's bleachy. They did it a lot in Minority Report. It looks like a Y2K film. And I don't think JJ, that I don't think he staged the action sequences particularly well. Although I know Quark, you like the
Yeah,
sequences a lot.
I
You like
like
the bridge
his.
sequence.
I love the bridge sequence. I think if anything, I think this is JJ's best film.
Second best.
Yeah. What's your I don't know, Super 8?
Super
What's your
8 pala.
best? But it's definitely, I think, of all the Mission Impossible films, it's the most emotional.
High
If not,
stakes.
yeah, if not for Monahan, who I am a Julia stan forever. I love Julia. I think Julia is the
She's
one.
great.
I know you
Yeah.
guys are Ilsaers, but also for Russell, which was super super. I mean, that was a very very suspenseful scene, the Kerry Russell scene, and then when she dies in the end, it's kind of like when she dies,
In the
it's
beginning.
in the beginning, it's like super shocking. The way
Yeah.
pa her eye.
The snap.
Yeah. And then yun nga, Owen Davian, the best,
The
absolute,
best villain in the
the best
series.
villain. And actually a very close, maybe second or third favorite villain in the series for me is Billy Crudup. Because
Good choice.
he's,
Good
diba?
choice.
He's a bit of like a fanboy if akala mo, but yung pala, ano siya. But yeah, I see how the action scenes could be very TV, but still fun. I love the Vatican sequence a lot. When he dresses up as Piho, and I love how simple the ending is, actually.
I wrote down in my review
Diba?
that if it wasn't part of a franchise, like Mission Impossible Part 3 would have been a great standalone because of the story, the ex-spy lured back to work with a really high-stakes emotional plot, a great villain, and a fantastic cruise performance.
So it's super kilig when he marries her in the hospital. Any other things about Mission 3 before we move on?
It is the first fully formed Ethan Hunt, like how we see him now, which is a good guy, wants to save the world, wants to sacrifice all of this just to do his job correctly.
This was still in the mold of that sort of alien franchise type thing na parang auteur directors
Auteur
coming
na
in
pala
and
si
doing
JJ
their
by
thing.
then.
Yeah, kasi this was definitely like post Alias diba? This was his first major movie.
Was this before Star Wars? It was,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Yeah.
And see, Cruz had faith in him. In fact, I think it was Abrams who parang recommended Brandon Bird for the next one. Then which of course led to McHugh. But I really loved it because of there were certain meta aspects like yun nga, the rabbit's foot na never needing to be explained. He brought Kerry Russell from Felicity. He brought Piho, diba, as like not just the best villain, but the best actor in the whole series, diba? I mean, just the scene of Piho pretending to be Tom Cruise,
Yeah, it's the
pretending
best.
to be
The
him.
best. Best
Wow.
mass scene ever, I think.
Diba?
So funny, dude. Yeah, the best math scene when they're building it
Ang
and then the
ganda.
camera goes around. Yeah.
And that's ano lang, that's a Texas switch lang, di ba? That
Yeah.
it's not like fancy whatever. And And then Maggie Q. Even
She's
Yeah.
the
great.
even the jump in Shanghai, I love. Um,
Yeah. I remember we watched that together, and then yeah, Leah said like I can't take this seriously when it's doing the
the math on the window,
geometry.
the beautiful mind.
That is my favorite hidden Ethan Hunt. He can draw
Oh,
witness
He's a
he can
man of
do
many
close up
talents.
magic, but
He is
my
like a
favorite is the
genius.
oh,
And JJ cast also Benji. He cast
oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Oh, because
So
they were fans of Shaun of the Dead.
Shaun of the Dead.
And then, of course, I'm also such a huge Monahan fan.
mm,
So, I mean, we've discussed this before, even with like Fallout, where I wasn't alone in that. Not everyone wanted more closure. Like, even though they thought they had wrapped it up with Ghost Protocol, it's like, hindi. People keep asking me pa rin about Julie, so they had to really like give it like the definitive end in Fallout.
Mm,
Um, yeah, I mean, the stakes are never more intimate
yeah,
and never more clear than
yeah,
in three, which is why I thought, up to then that was like my strongest one. I didn't mind that look, because I like that
yeah,
color, sort of temperature that it gave
yeah. And the
also.
film grain, diba?
Yeah, yeah,
Must
which kind of
announced.
comes back in Rogue Nation.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I really enjoyed. Hindi pa field agent si
agree.
Benji at this time also. He's just
no,
Yeah,
like
he was a
he's
a
an
desk
office
guy.
dude.
lead. And
Okay,
the one and
no.
only appearance of Lawrence Fishburne.
Yes, oh nga eh.
That's
Grabe.
true.
No. So number 8 is Mission Impossible 2. Number
Yeah, too.
7 is Final Reckoning.
Mhm.
Number 6 is Dead Reckoning.
Erp.
Number 5 is Mission Impossible 3. And now it seems that number 4 is Mission Impossible 1. Um,
Okay, because we prefer Ghost Protocol.
my thing. So when I rewatched Mission Impossible, I was very excited because historically it was my favorite. Um, and it does date, diba? Parang the way he reaches out to Job is like he emails literally every
Yeah,
Job.com.
message
Parang
forum.
ganon.
yeah, parang parang Job 15
Usenet
or
group ata pa yan eh.
or Max at Job
Oo.
315 or something, yeah, or Usenet.
Evilguys.com.org.
And then he opens Netscape. Oh my god,
Oh
I love
my
it.
gosh.
like diba? Parang it you don't even
Navigator.
know if it works actually for that time it came out, 1996. Um and then yung Ethan Hunt nga, parang malabo kasi sometimes
Cocky
it's
shit pa
his,
siya eh.
yeah, sometimes it's Maverick, diba? He's like
Yeah.
gum chewing. Tapos
Oo.
sometimes he's like super, dramatic. They're dead. Everyone is dead.
It's a few good men. It's Maverick slash a few good men slash
Yeah.
cocktail cruise.
Diba? And then, but may mga weird stuff. Like, there's a shot where Claire kisses his hand and it leads to nothing. I don't know if they ended up fucking or not. But, parang but, I mean, ganito. Can you, do we agree that Mission Impossible changed action films forever?
The
Is
first
it
one,
something? Yeah, the first one.
parang no.
Yeah, I don't
What?
agree. I don't
No,
think
no, I
so.
don't think it. I don't see its ripples in terms of like how did it change action
The
films?
industry, no.
Because it feels very of a piece with De Palma's filmography, even with like Snake Eyes,
Yeah.
diba? Which I think was around the same time. The duplicity and the
Mm.
subterfuge, but in terms of things like the aquarium restaurant, or even I mean, maybe there's a bit of CG stuff with helicopter into the
The channel.
the French tunnel, but definitely hindi action scene sa akin yung yung like CIA
Langley.
vault.
The Langley
But
heist
it's an
is
exercise in De
iconic.
Palma
Yeah.
tension, diba?
Yeah.
Like even people forget one of the best parts in terms of tension is actually Jean Reno struggling with the rope in the vent,
Yeah.
and figuring out what to do with the rat.
And the
Uh,
rat comes. Yeah.
so but
So
yeah, I mean,
I argue nga that it did change because yun nga, parang it basically took this Hitchcockian north the North by Northwest kind of like suspense, but then suddenly mixed it with yun nga, parang things exploding and multi-million dollar budgets and whatever. Whereas before that, diba, the action films were mga Die Hard and
But
ano,
I would argue
Rambo
that
and
it was Die Hard pa and Terminator 2, which were the more revolutionary action
I mean,
films.
they
More
were, but also I
influential, yeah, yeah.
think Mission Impossible kind of veered it somewhere else, diba?
Probably it created
Pero
another branch in
Yeah.
the
So
action trunk.
it is
I, f-
it is an influential action film, let's say.
I feel like it
But also,
perpetuated itself. And
yeah.
then later on, parang the other, when it had like its style na, then it might have sort of had more of an effect on other franchises. Pero if, I mean, but to for examine your point, what films do you feel it influenced?
We're
Nah,
the children of MI.
which brings me to my second point. But I cannot think of a film after MI that is still like MI, right? Like an action film that resembles Mission Impossible, because Mission Impossible, he does not shoot a single gun in that film, which is kind of wild for an action film, right? Like parang he's no, and then yun nga, it's like 9 set pieces. It's basically 9 scenes. You have Prague, you have London, you have Langley, and then you have the train. Diba? Parang it's kind of like parang film exercise siya. But birthed one of the most successful action franchises of all time. But until now, there's no. I mean, and you can argue that
But there's not
five is
even
like
a
six.
film in Mission that looks like,
Yes,
feels like
exactly.
one. So
Yeah.
parang I don't
Exactly.
really feel
Parang
na it was
standalone si Juan eh.
oh
Standalone,
parang
the
because yeah,
yeah.
because at that time nga they're doing the thing na each thing is its own auteur driven style. Yeah, because obviously two is very much a John Woo film. One is very much a De Palma film. Abrams was so new that you couldn't really say that's an Abrams film. But
That's a 2000s film. That's what you're
diba?
gonna say.
Although parang the
Yeah.
problem now is we're seeing I don't know what Abrams style is. It might be all homage, diba?
Lens flares.
There's no lens flare. There's
There
three lens
is.
flares. I
There
counted
is.
it in Mission
Lens
Oh.
Impossible 3.
flares.
There's
Pero
only three.
yeah, yeah.
But no, but yun yan, parang linely 9 minutes of silence, no dialogue, no music.
Ganda.
Parang I don't know. I am in awe of
Pero
Mission Impossible 1.
the
Na
closest
parang
that to that is the sub. Na it's so
yeah.
quiet for
Yeah.
maybe 9 minutes. Diba? So I don't know if it's. I mean, it's great De Palma filmmaking that didn't know what it was yet because they were trying to intentionally move away from
An action movie.
the Jim Phelps TV
Yeah.
show that was
Also, they were
what our
trying to not make
generation
an
knew.
action like a T2, like a James Cameron
Yeah,
film.
yeah, it was really more espionage, suspense, diba?
Yeah. And also,
Deceit,
yeah, I
who to
think the
trust,
spycraft,
paranoia. Oh,
part, which is kind of like,
yeah.
they don't really do as much of it. Maybe they do it in Rogue Nation, but parang after this,
Alam
fuck
mo,
being a spy.
so one of my favorite bits is the what he does with the bulb in Prague when he gets back to the apartment. Diba?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He takes it out, crushes it, puts it in his jacket, and uses it to shake it on the floor so that. And then yun nga, he hears Emmanuel Bayar when she steps on
Yeah.
the no, ganda.
Yeah.
But yeah, what a
Parang
cast. John
very le
Reno,
carre, parang yung one.
and
So
of
as
course,
dated as it
Alana's
is,
mom, diba? Si
oh yeah,
Max,
Max,
one of my favorite
who has the
introductions.
most, who arguably has the most chemistry with Tom Cruise over
Yes.
anyone else
Like
in the
the
Mission
thing she
Impossible.
does with her pinky, and I haven't rewatched
Si
it, na,
Red
but this is
Grave.
in my like memory na. You should just go to that.
Uh, So, ayun. And then, diba, when you think of Mission Impossible, you still kind of think of the explosion onto the train, I mean, being
Yes.
hurled onto the train,
Ah, yeah.
and then the Langley, So I think there's this staying power to
Also,
it. that
Oh yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
really, yeah.
That Langley heist launched so many parodies and so many
Diba?
homages.
Yeah, like the aforementioned Ben Stiller, in the MTV Awards.
But
Okay.
also, one of my favorite scores
Mm.
in general, not just MI. I have the CD of that actually.
Mm,
Danny
Oh my
Danny
gosh.
Elfman.
Elfman. Danny Elfman. Did you
Favorite
know that
score ko na MI was Ghost Protocol with Giacchino. Anyway, go Quark.
Hans Zimmer did too?
Yeah, yeah. And then
Parang si
actually,
Junkie XL.
in
Anyway.
interestingly, he changed na naman for final.
Yeah.
It's
Hindi na
somewhat
si
it's
Lorne
a
Balfe. I
duo na
don't
I
know.
do not know.
I don't
Yeah.
like the scoring of
Ako
the
rin.
last
Yung
two.
final, not so much. Although the sub was great. Pero that's more like a sound design thing, I think.
Mel, your number one is
GP.
uh, is Ghost Protocol. Can you make your case for Ghost Protocol?
I know that it's not on everyone's list, but it's just my personal fave. I just had the most fun with it. Brad Bird has a really tight way of directing in his action movies, and this is just under 2 hours, or just no, it's 2 and 6, 2 hours and 6 minutes, and so many things happened. There's like the breakout in Moscow, the of course the legendary Burj Khalifa sequence, the Dubai chase, the India chase. It felt like a live action Incredibles movie. And I just realized it when I was doing my nth rewatch of this. Look, I watch Ghost Protocol maybe once a year or once every 2 years because I
Wow.
love it so much. I love it so much.
The Little Women of action
The Little
movies
Women of action.
Even like that, because I feel it really falls apart sa third
in
act
India.
when she's
In
like with
India.
when Paula
The India
Patton's with
part
that
is
Indian guy.
my least favorite in the movie, but for me that Burj Khalifa was a lot of fun, and you really see how the characters just meshed together because this is the first time you really see a team effort for the MI
Yeah,
team.
Hunter is
Everyone
great.
was a contributor
Yeah,
to the thing. I just
Leia Seydoux
Seydoux.
great. Yeah,
Leia Sadu. I even
getting
Paula.
feel
kicked
that
out.
I don't know why Renner got so much flack online for
Because
Ghost
ano eh.
Protocol.
Because they were
They were gonna pass
positioning,
it on to him.
oh, they were
Yeah, but
positioning him as a
I
replacement,
think
diba?
he was great. He knew what role he was playing, right? Diba? Na
Sure,
parang
sure.
he
But
was a
you know
Yeah.
naman
comic
people
relief
are.
to Tom Cruise also.
See, Alec Baldwin then is there. I mean, it's a
Yeah, who's
really good.
a great bureau guy, if you ask
Yeah,
me. Alec Baldwin's
Paula Patton
audition.
is amazing.
I
Uh,
still mourn that they didn't give her a second movie
I know what the fuck.
because she was so good in it. Maybe I think she was too tall.
No,
Eh, Maggie Q.
yeah.
Eventually, she's
Apparently,
way too
that
tall.
was written, I think, initially conceived as Maggie Q's,
Oh,
Oh.
I
a
wouldn't
Maggie
have
Q
minded Maggie
role.
Q
Yeah.
also because I think she was
Yeah.
one of the
But
more outstanding MI girls.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it was because of La Femme Nikita that, oh, okay, we have to replace her. So, sayang.
Where does Ghost Protocol usually rank? Higher.
Ghost Protocol, there is a school of people na high
Hey.
talaga
I
siya.
am
Okay.
not alone,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah, yeah.
No,
You
no.
are
So
not
we
alone.
have, and then, pero what do you remember the reasons they would say besides what Mel's mentioned?
It's fun. The Burge. Oh, it's like the Looney Tunes one, and
Okay,
you
Yeah,
okay.
you can see it naman.
it's the
It's like
Looney
a,
Tunes one.
No, no.
yeah.
Yes,
It's
I
a very least wordy maybe.
and it's
But
2 hours,
uh
yeah,
action packed.
I pretty much agree with that. Although it doesn't matter naman how long it is, because like Fallout's longer, but there's never a dull moment. Pero for me, it's the most gadgety of any of them. But yeah, it does feel like practice or or a reward basically for the Incredibles, and then but it has also like no emotion until the end because of the return of Monahan. Parang ganon. But amazing stunts and set pieces and very funny. So I think I only docked it just because like the emotional aspects of the other films are superior.
yes, let me check.
Yeah, yeah. I think I like Protocol. I think I like Protocol more than one. It's yeah, yeah. Because one, as much as I love one, it's also really dark and cynical, which is very De Palma, very David Kep, and
And I
what
still
they
can't make
wanted.
sense of the plot of
They
one.
it's what they wanted to do at the time, but Protocol, I feel, works better. It's more successful at what it wants to be. And Mission 1 is more really a De Palma thing. That just, diba? Because the main criticism with 1 was how can they do that to Jim Phelps in the spirit of just preserving this twist that you can't predict because it makes no sense. Diba? It's like if someone made a TV show right now of Mission Impossible and then your first episode Ethan Hunt's the villain. Diba? Parang yeah, you didn't see that coming. Of course, because he's the fucking hero of your franchise. So when Mel mentions she doesn't get the plot of MI1,
It's still
oh,
confusing.
which part? The knock or why Phelps turned?
The knock list, I think. I just it was just convoluted.
Well, kasi parang he needed to get the authentic thing because he knew the bad guys were good enough to realize if it was fake or not. Pero it doesn't
Sure.
make sense why Phelps would turn parang just for money or being
Yeah.
disillusioned. Di ba? Parang,
And give
it's
his
a,
wife away.
oh, it doesn't, it might make sense in the real world, but if you're in the universe of a franchise, you have to kind of follow certain logical, di ba, rules. You can't just it's like saying, well, Batman obviously would not fucking work in the real world because of surveillance tech and bodies wear and tear, and then you know, you can't apply real world morals and logistics and minutia when you just want to see the guy jump between buildings, diba? So
Number 1?
Okay, so number two
isn't this
is no, we haven't even talked about two, Rogue Nation,
yeah?
which is a great film. And for me, Macquarie is best.
Mm.
Still, I think parang ano, I like my Mission Impossible's not really encumbered by history or backstory so much, and
Legacy also.
diba? I guess yun nga parang this brought back a lot of the the spy stuff, especially with the ending. I super love the ending
Uh-huh.
when they catch Solomon Lane and then
There's
he's
no
just
fight.
shooting the yeah, with no fight.
The
So ang
only
ganda.
the
I mean it.
only the only capture of the bad guy in the mission na walang away.
All talky.
It's just a chase and a trap.
Yeah. So it's yeah, it's quite a well crafted film, and it really is like the announcement of the arrival of the Mission Impossible director, which is McHugh.
He worked with McHugh first on Valkyrie, then he brought him on to everything after that as a script doctor. And then sa Ghost Protocol, parang he did a good job na I think Tom Cruise like had an idea na. But then he road tested him with Jack Reacher. And then it was while they were shooting Jack Reacher na he told McHugh, ikaw na yung mission next.
Ikaw
So
na.
oh, and I love Jack Reacher also, but Rogue Nation. What I will say is, I acknowledge that another film is better as an MI film, but Rogue Nation is my favorite,
Your personal.
my
We all
personal
have our own
favorite
personals
of
talaga.
the mission movies. It comes back a little bit to the sort of lo-fi-ness of three, the grain and look also of three. I love the bits of comedy that are in Rogue Nation, like when he tries to jump the car and completely misses, and ano pa, and of course the introduction of Ilsa. I mean, come on, the opera
Yeah,
house,
The
the
opera
opera is an
the
house.
amazing scene.
perfect character
Oh,
basically, and such a great character to introduce after the heartbreak of like having to sacrifice his point, quote unquote normal life with Julia, di ba? Na parang, but here's
Just
someone who
one
will
true love.
understand your pain, parang who parang is your kind of perfect counterpart pala. And then yeah, the casting choice of Ferguson, even the shoes please sequence, di ba? Parang it's something you don't think of, but it's such a great addition in terms of just the character and the realism, quote unquote, of the whole thing, using Baldwin as kind of a almost a MacGuffin of his own. Um, and then see Nigel, who will later be in Nosferatu, Tom Hollander, uh, as the prime minister. The motorcycle sequence is amazing, where he actually skins his knee on cam, and they kept it in. Yeah, dami. The
And it
big stunt being the
feels,
beginning, the intro of
yeah,
the movie.
the plane, right?
The
Yeah,
plane.
Yeah. And then parang it feels like this is the most Macquarie one, the
yeah.
most personal
Dialogue
to him.
wise,
Parang this is my one shot. Parang ito na. So it has a lot of the Macquarie like
he said
ano
that, diba, na he was on the verge of quitting Hollywood na when parang when he met Cruz, and parang he nagulat siya how much Cruz believed in him.
yeah.
'Cause basically,
So
before then, he'd been in director jail since Way of the Gun,
yeah.
diba?
Yeah.
Which I liked, but it didn't
Yeah,
do well.
fantastic.
But there's a one of my favorite scenes at the end is when he has to parang diba, he memorizes the account in his brain so that he can't be killed. It's not on anything. It's not digitally or hard copy anywhere. It's all here. So they can't kill him. So the sequence becomes he has to stand in front of Ilsa, diba?
Yeah.
For this one sort of showdown with multiple gunmen. They do the same thing. Parang inulit niya yung sequence in final with Hayley Atwell. And I was like, this is how I know things are slipping na eh, na parang ginaya. Parang, alam mo yun,
No, with the
ginaya niya na
Langley
yung
dude,
sarili
di
niya.
ba? He
Yeah.
memorized the coordinates.
Yeah. There's an interesting article in AV Club about basically like Tom Cruise finding his creative soulmate in Christopher McQuarrie, and then he slowly makes McQuarrie his bitch of the next few Mission Impossible films. So, but
I'm
there's
really
still
wondering. I wonder how they make it. Like, does he come up with a list, his wish list of stunts and wish list of scenes that he wants to do, and then he passes it on to McHugh and says, "Make it work." Ganun ba?
yeah, parang according to Macquarie, it's basically like and perfect segue to our number one, Fallout, Mission Impossible Fallout. Basically, this is something like he will say, "Oh, I want to fly. I want to jump off a plane. I want to do a halo jump." Write that into the script, and then what do you want? And then McCrary will say, "I want some emotional closure. I want to close Julia." So basically, okay, these are the two things we want. Let's try to make a movie about that. Oh, and then he said, "I want to learn how to fly a helicopter." Boom. You have Mission Impossible,
Falu.
Fallout.
Falu.
I
Yeah,
think this is
which
the most times I've seen a mission movie in a theater. It was
Fallout.
Fallout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your favorite Ramon is Rogue Nation personally, but you put Fallout as number one. Why did you do that?
With Rogue Nation, it's my personal favorite because part of it is also just the falling in love with Ilsa, and you can see it happening. With Fallout, it's a continuation of that directly. That just that scene, which is also wordless, where he's parang leading her into the confrontation in the garden in Paris after running her over with with a car. Parang and then it's just again so many great funny bits. The return of Solomon Lane, the actor not wanting to actually do it again, except na they came up with the best way to reintroduce him, which is they have to extract him themselves.
Yeah.
Um, Even Cavill, parang it wasn't naman a mystery na he was the bad guy. I don't know why some people didn't get that. He was very clear from the beginning as a bad guy. Um, but
Sarap
it's
sipain ni Cavill talaga.
You know
oh
what's so great about the Cavill, the John Lloyd character is that of all of the villains, you can see siya yung pinaka-hate ni Ethan Hunt na may personal
Si
hatred.
Walker. Oggs
in the
Walker.
helicopter, no, yung,
Yeah, yung
that's
parang,
right,
"Come on,
you
that's
prick."
right, you prick.
He was so good. He's my second favorite villain in the series.
He's
August
so
Walker.
again literally has a mustache, but not a mustache twirler the way Gabriel is. Um, but yeah, I mean, he also has like the build. He was like the anti Ethan Hunt for the
He's
CIA
like six foot
under Angela
four. I know.
Bassett. Tapos, diba?
Massive
And
guy.
then even that's still mysterious until now. How he parang cocks his arms in the bathroom fight, and then
Ugh.
his parang stubble appears. Diba? Parang they still don't know how to explain how that happened. But yeah, I mean,
What happened again? So he wanted to keep his mustache for mission. And
No,
then
he needed to
during
keep his mustache, and then they needed to do reshoots of
for Superman.
Justice League.
Yeah. So
Justice
he so
League.
he shot
Digitally.
it with a mustache, and then they had to digitally remove the
Oh my
mustache.
gosh.
Yeah. Wild,
Um,
no?
but yeah, I mean the better film earned it.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I mean what's also crazy with Fallout is there are amazing sequences that were deleted. Have you seen
Oh
the
yeah?
deleted? Have you seen the? Oh yeah, so you haven't seen the deleted
No.
Palai? So they land on this club, diba, where DJ Harvey is playing. There's a
Mm.
part, there's an extra sort of action sequence on the catwalk which they took out. It's in the deleted scenes. It's not got like ADR or sound effects, but there's like they just put temp score on it. But they did cut it together. And then the one that hasn't been released, which I'm so dying to see, is if you watch the trailers of Fallout, there's a scene where he's piloting the helicopter and comes face to face with a truck with like logs. It's about to hit this truck. Basically, he gets lost in the clouds, and then when the clouds part, parang he's on a road na pala as a
Mm.
helicopter and is about to hit the truck. It is removed and for pacing reasons. But I'm like, dude, shoot niyo yun eh. Pakita mo na kahit sa deleted. So parang I think
Oh.
they thought they might be able to use it elsewhere, but there are things like that. And then of course the Halo jump, which is also amazing in IMAX, which I think he did 106 times. They could only do like uh 5 jumps
Yeah,
in
6 jumps a
sunrise
day.
and then 5 in sunset. So they parang did like anyway, Fallout kasi basically is everything including the kitchen sink, but it's not boring, diba? It's the best
Yeah.
one of the
Mm.
best car chases, one of the best fight scene, which is the bathroom threesome. Uh,
Uh-huh.
uh, and then it's so emotional also because it's got the closure with Julia, and then also the parang the return of Ilsa when he basically asked her to get out, diba? Have your own life. But she's like, I don't want to spend my life running, without saying no, hindi ka kasama, and parang this is my way back in. So, and then of course the return of Lane, parang you can almost feel that the actor doesn't want to be there, which kind of adds to the enjoyment. Uh, but yeah, it's funny. Um,
I
uh,
do think I have a ding on
Fallout.
Fallout, which is it. I feel McHugh is not good with emotions, and I think
Oh.
this is most especially seen in Final Reckoning. But I think as a Julia fan, and I think that's why I rewatched it from 3, 4, 5 because I was,
Mm,
me, though, like
you wanted to see the
I'm
Julia
Mister.
arc.
I wanna cry. I wanna cry in the
Yeah.
theater, and I didn't really
So you didn't
care. I
feel the
mean,
payoff was there.
yeah, I mean, like, okay, Wes Bentley, what's this? The most touching for me, the Julia, is when she just offers to help Luther, but
Luther.
yeah, but kind of like, man, what's happening? I mean, you know, Tom Cruise can do it because he does it with Jennifer Connelly and Maverick, etc. But for me, yun nga, parang I guess that disappointment kind of tainted yeah, Fallout for me. And then I don't know, they kind of lost me. Remember that super multi cross, double cross, like, aha, I'm recording you. Well, Angela Bassett is in my phone and she's listening to this conversation. And then it kind of like there's a standoff, and then I'm like, wait, what's this? So so
Well, it was like one double cross too many. But basically, the
yeah.
syndicate was also in the CIA.
So yeah, but I do love it. I mean, it's I think my number four.
Miguel Luke
So
too, and I agree with him when he said that MI should have ended with Fallout.
yeah.
That would have been the perfect note to leave the series. Because you have the closure with Julia, closure with Ilsa, Benji Luther saves the world with Ethan, everyone happy.
This is why I rewatched everything. Because I thought, ito na yun eh,
Mm.
before Fallout. It had that
Yeah.
stink, even in the trailers. And then
The
if
last one.
there's a recent also photo, not recent, but I saw it again recently, where there's a deleted scene because there's Vanessa Kirby was in the camp at the end. So there's a
Oh,
scene
she
where White
was.
Widow is parang seen at the camp. I don't know, if it was parang she was goaded onto the trip by sila Lane and Locke. Pero sayang, isa pa yan.
Oh, Tom Cruise does have chemistry with someone in that film, and it's the French cop
I
who
love that
gets
scene though.
shot. I mean, yeah, but he's like, Je suis désolé. Very,
He speaks
very,
French
very strange.
well.
No, he doesn't.
I think it's quite good for an American.
Not for someone who's supposed to speak French
Pero
fluently.
ang ganda na the cop is really the audience, di ba? Na parang I should shoot this guy pero ang gwapo eh. And then he's so gentle with her, di ba? Parang put pressure on the wound. Ganun.
Okay, some awards before we go.
Quick fire awards
Quick
because
fire
we
awards. Yeah, we
are
are over
2
time.
hours. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, best MacGuffin.
Rabbit's foot.
Before Final Reckoning, yeah,
Before,
it literally was the rabbit's foot.
It was, and then
Until it
Final
was no longer,
Reckoning.
it was the MacGuffin.
Yeah, and that ruined it forever as a prototype for freaking entity. So baka knocklist na lang ako after that. Let's
Or
see.
actually, wait, it could be Lane. Kasi ang ganda ng extraction na yun eh. Yung when he has to do that inhale when you see the wall of water in
Yeah.
that angle. Oh,
Yeah, that was.
that was genuinely like, oh shit, it revived my fear of drowning.
Who is the best MI team in the movie, in a movie, in any given movie? We're not counting Ilsa because she's not really MI, but
In terms of
Am I
sex,
team or team member?
no, MI
Team.
team. And then I'll ask you about team member in a bit.
Ako, I've always been Ghost Protocol.
in terms of
Ghost
sexiness, it's
One
actually,
ka, no?
it could be one eh. The dumbass team from the intro who all die. But
Yeah,
kasi you have
Voight,
Kristen Scott
Bear.
Thomas eh.
Yeah,
Diba?
Estevez, yeah,
Yes.
KST.
Oh, but I'll probably actually go with 3. Because it's like Maggie Q, Jonathan Rhys Meyers, Luther. Parang
Jonathan
sexy
Rhys
Three,
Meyers.
three is
talaga
my
eh.
close second.
Oo.
Because I like
I'm
that
actually
team a lot
one.
too.
One nga. Because yun nga, parang,
They are.
I know, for you kind of care for them and they're only there for 15 minutes. And then
There's 2 people pa na I'm forgetting eh. The ones who aren't really
Voight,
named.
Bear, Estevez, Kristen Scott Thomas.
There's another girl. Diba? That's not
Yeah, there's
Bear.
another girl.
The kissing people. Diba they were kissing
And
in
then
the...
there's a
the street
driver
there.
who just blows up in the car. Diba? Isa pa.
Yes, maybe.
Pero yeah,
Oo.
they're obviously not a great
How
team.
can this be the best team? You guys can't even remember their names and
No,
their
that's why
actors.
I'm going
Oh,
with
that
three.
dude.
Diba?
Yeah,
Parang-
that
no,
guy.
because you think Hunt, you feel that Hunt is parang equal sa kanila, if not less pa nga than someone like Kristen Scott Thomas. Parang they all have it together. Yung si Estevez showing him how the gum works, and of course Voight being the very, very clear leader.
The
Oo,
team leader.
halatang siya
nga,
yung
hindi
ano
pa
eh.
promoted si Ethan.
Oo.
Si Ethan yung mangne sa team na yan eh. So, parang almost learning the ropes pa. It's like because
Yeah.
that team dies, that's why he learns French, Russian, parang wala ng team. Ako na lahat.
Yeah, diba? Okay, best unmasking. Or yung mask reveal.
The best reveal,
Mine
I
is
guess.
Benji in Fallout as Wolf Blitzer.
That could be.
Actually, nagulat ako doon that he was Benji. So, that's a
Pero
good one.
maganda rin
Pero,
yung
I think
Hunt
it's-
in Dead Reckoning. When he
Ay, oo. As,
And he
as
gasses
Kittredge. Oo, ganda nun. I
and then
might...
Kittredge is like, how are you gonna get out of here? And
Yeah,
then he
yeah.
shows the Kittredge mask. And he's like, oh.
Ako, I mean, we've been spoiling naman the whole time, but I think the finale of 3 for me.
Wait, the finale of 3 is when he's, Philip Seymour Hoffman? No.
That happens on a plane, that middle movie.
Well,
middle of the movie.
it's kind of minor eh, but just like it works dramatically. Basically, si Michelle Monaghan is the failed agent of Piho wearing a mask of Michelle Monaghan. He shoots her in front of him, diba? And it's not her. Creepy kasi how the mask is exposed na parang nag-shift lang, so parang horror na gumalaw yung eye sockets niya.
Yeah. Best hair, Ethan Hunt.
Part 2.
Parang
Best hair.
Pero 2 is very no. When you think of that haircut, you hear the Limp Bizkit eh.
Yeah,
Um,
dung 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 da da dung.
But the just the way it would flow with the wind and in
Ako
slow
one.
mo.
one
That
is
crew cut is too harsh.
A
That's a
pet's call.
military cut.
alam
So
mo,
it's a
ang ganda ng hair niya sa final, to be fair.
Too long, don't you think?
Hindi,
Parang
parang
haba na
tama
sa
lang for
hair
his
niya.
age eh. Ito na tayo eh. Sunsetting eh.
As a woman, I would rank it as 2, and then Ghost Protocol, MI3. Those are the top 3 haircuts in the
Oh,
series.
best run.
I love the Fallout run,
The one where he falls.
Ah,
the one where
No,
he falls.
yeah,
from
yeah.
the
No, I mean the one
office.
across the bridge, di ba? Ako
Yeah.
actually, unlikely perhaps, but I think
Final.
Dead Reckoning, the Venice Candles hallway. Ganda lang talaga. I mean, it's
Yeah,
lit
that's
so well.
beautiful. Ako baka final, actually, strangely enough.
Ah, across
Running
In
through the,
London,
London in the dark, in the night. Ah.
ang weird ng scene na yun. It's one of those scenes na like, we're here, and then where does it go after
where are
that?
there people?
It's like when they get out of the mine, why are there biplanes? Parang why are those the planes on this airfield?
And it's kind of crazy how the biplane passes him and he's able to hang on to it. No?
Plus, I was trying to figure out the logistics. I was like, where is he running from? Is he like out in the country, running into central London, and he's
Oh.
making it in what, 15 minutes? That's
At saka
impossible.
bakit walang traffic? Wala namang virus outbreak, di ba?
I would
Best.
underrated run was Ghost Protocol when he comes out of the bridge and
Ah,
he's
yeah.
chasing
And it's
after
a
the
good
sandstorm.
low
And
angle,
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is
it's a good,
rare.
it's a low angle run.
Lol.
Best vehicle scene.
The Arc de Triomphe in Fallout.
I might be Rogue Nation Cycles. It's so fast eh. And it's so ganda. And of course it ends with Ilsa
Wait,
forcing the
that's in
sand.
Morocco, right? So
Yeah.
fun fact, I was driving through the Atlas Mountains and my guide was like, "Oh, this is where they shot Mission Impossible." So we went through
Oh.
the corner talaga where they
Wow.
shot the motorcycle
You should
sequence.
have paused. You should have asked them to stop so you could stand in the middle of the road.
I know, well, I was with a bunch of like 3 other hikers with me. I didn't want to impose.
Oh.
But I was sitting in front and he was like, "You like movies, yeah? This is where Tom Cruise." And then I was like,
Oh.
"Did you guys?" Because he's a Berber, so he was able to watch the filming. So I was like, "How did you meet Tom Cruise?" And then the guy was like, "Yes, I took picture, and he's a very fast man."
No, I think I'm the same. Bike and car chase in Rogue. Best action sequence, guns and whatever. Shooting.
Ako talaga, if it's ending, I really really love the Fallout helicopter chase
Yeah, that's really good.
because it
Pero
goes from the sky to land to fist fights and then a cliff hanging.
no, but when you okay.
That's true. That's true. I think mine was a bridge attack, but only because of that shot where it explodes and he hits the
And
car.
then he's flung against a car.
Pero yeah, but the bridge attack has these moments and the sequence of cause and effect that are really interesting. Like how the pieces of the bridge fall, he has to leap, and then even the things you don't think of, like throw the gun first, diba? Parang ganun. And that he had to get the right equipment to take out the drone. I do also because I just love how the blocking of the bathroom threesome.
Which brings
But
up
that's
with
but
best
that's not
fist fight.
action, yeah.
Best
Fist
fist
fight
fight.
yan.
Okay,
Best
yun na
fist
yan.
fight.
Sige.
Okay, yeah, I think that's mine also.
Unanimously.
Yeah,
Yeah.
unanimously. Best stunt.
Halo.
Halo jump. Yep.
Ako
Agree.
Burge.
Burge.
The Burge kasi, it feels like that was the first really proper, oh yeah, it was, of the first really showy stunts, diba?
Yeah. That was
And-
when they finally allowed them to be
Oo.
crazy crews.
And I remember seeing that on IMAX, and I just think also Bob Elswit did such a good job. Like the angles that they chose. There's a shot where he jumps over the camera running down the building. That's not a stage or diba? That they did that eh. Diba? Parang it's an upside down shot, and then he jumps over the camera, and the camera follows, and then straightens the shot. I was like, you maniacs talaga. And then there's footage diba, from Tokyo tourists of
Yeah,
him.
inside the
Out,
hotel.
oh, they're inside the hotel. They're taking footage of him, and he's waving at them from outside the building. Like, grabe
You know,
Did you
kagaguhan.
hear
Mira,
that Matt Damon?
Mira couldn't believe that because I said that you know that's him.
Yeah.
That's not CGI. That's action.
I've been to the Burj, and it's like, just looking up is scary. Paano pa yung,
Yeah.
diba?
Yung light the fuse nga, when they interview stunt people, they're always like, or when they interview people who worked on the film, they'll say, oh, they have stunt people to kind of like do it just to practice and run through. And when Tom figures it out, he does it. And 9 times out of 10, he'll do it better than the stunt person. Talaga.
Oh. Kasi
They
he's
should just
watching them
call
also.
the next stunt awards in the Oscars the Tom Cruise
The Tom Cruise Award.
stunt award.
Um, did you hear the Matt Damon story? The where he asked Tom Cruise like,
Yeah.
"How did you do that bridge jump?" And he's like, let me tell you how I did that bridge jump. I've been thinking about that
So
stunt for years,
intense.
for 10 years. I've been thinking about that stunt for 10 years. So finally, I got this chance, and I asked the safety officer, "Can I do this?"
Oh, yeah, I've
and he
seen
says
this.
no. So the next day, I find the new safety officer.
Alam mo, Scientology can make you do crazy things.
I wonder how much the insurance is against Tom Cruise. Seriously.
Kaya ang taas ng budgets niya.
I'm
Yeah.
sure, no? It's probably a 20 million insurance claim on him.
At least.
Okay, best mission briefing.
Someone on the Facebook group suggested or nominated
Oakleys.
I think it was the Rogue Nation
Rogue
one at the
Nation,
record
yeah.
store.
Yeah, that is great. That is the girl delivering the fangirl who gets shot point blank in front of Ethan.
Pero ang ganda ng scene na yun in terms of just narratively, like that's when he decided, patay ito. I mean, I'm gonna get this guy talaga because he killed the
Yeah.
girl na walang kinalaman.
Yeah.
Anyway, I kind of prefer the lo-fi ones.
The VHS.
Ang daming VHS.
The
There's
VHS
like 3 VHS
No, VHS,
movies.
the last one is VHS.
Final. Oh.
And the
Yeah.
first one, wasn't the first one VHS also?
Parang,
Or was it a
di ba
disc?
cassette?
Cassette.
Yeah.
I'm mixing up my analogs.
Fallout ba yung book?
The one that explodes and then he's just like this.
It doesn't quite exploded, but it just kind of puffs. Puff,
Yeah.
Ganun.
And then he's nag-ano siya. It might be Dead Reckoning actually. Yeah, and then I think Fallout is the one. No, yeah, Fallout is the
Fallout ata
one
yun.
the phone, the normal the phone stand, the phone booth
Isn't
Oh,
that
you don't
Ghost
remember
Pro?
what phone booth is.
at the phone stand.
Di ba Ghost Pro yung ano, yung phone booth?
Oh wait, shit. No,
When they get him out of prison, he goes to a phone booth.
That's true, out of
right,
Moscow.
the phone stand.
Phone stand. Alam mo, I was so happy to see a phone booth in New York. Like, like,
Dami sa London,
like some
which
kind
they've
of a
now
celebrity
converted
sighting.
into Wi-Fi centers, free
Oh
Wi-Fi
god,
centers.
I love it.
Surveillance.
Best Superior,
Baldwin. I love them.
not Hopkins, just.
Hopkins talagang bakasyon lang eh, no?
Oh, parang
Where- that
Where is the
paycheck.
shoot? Seville?
Wait.
I'm there.
like why did they get him? Like never made sense. Para siyang M.
Fishburne had
Yeah.
an interesting energy, yung parang, but it was
Yeah.
like such an obviously hindi ka yung bad guy kasi you're being so mean.
Yeah. Angela Bassett. I don't know how to feel about Angela Bassett. Like,
She's
I-
no
I-
Queen Ramonda.
yeah, because I totally forgot that she was the CIA agent in Fallout. I'm like, how,
But
like,
it did occur to me in Final Reckoning na H.W. Bush was CIA head before
Yeah.
VP and eventually president. Yeah, all right. It might be Baldwin just because he had to be won over. Diba?
He is the physical manifestation of destiny.
That's a guy you want
Yeah.
backing your play. Eh. Tsaka when he
Yeah.
trusted him, he didn't need explanation na. Parang sige.
I'm all in.
Diba? Did you know 2 is, I think, the only mission film where he doesn't go rogue? Diba?
Ethan,
Yeah.
actually. Actually.
Yeah,
And
sa 4 na,
tapos
Ghost Pro
nakakatawa
na.
yung Rogue Nation kasi parang like, oh, by default, now you have to go rogue.
And they mention
That's your mission.
every title pala in the dialogue. I didn't realize that.
Did they?
From Ghost Protocol onwards. You are undergoing Ghost Protocol on blah blah
Yeah.
Rogue Nation.
When
This
do
is
they
a
say Dead
fallout, sir.
Reckoning?
They do. They so
When
there's
Final
like a
Reckoning?
I remember Final Reckoning. Pero
there's
who
Dead
says Dead
Reckoning.
Reckoning?
There's Dead Reckoning.
Oh, best romantic interest. Sino na?
Do we count Julia?
Yeah, we count Julia.
I really did like her.
No, I
Yeah.
do. I love Julia. I love Monahan. But best? Like,
Yeah.
but the character was basically made for you.
Ilsa na
Is
yan.
Ilsa Paz.
It's Ilsa na. I mean, just the first movie, di ba? Parang Run Away With Me. Tapos it shocks. Tapos both Luther and Benji like, ooh!
You know what I love, but the romantic moment is, have you been to? This is my first time in Venice.
In
which
Venice, mine too,
And then they're
oh.
like in the gondola. I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool.
May parang lean in pa eh. And then, of course, they call back that scene. Mag-isa na siya.
Yeah.
And you know, not a lot of actresses have chemistry with TC. So they should have just really kept her.
So it's like Vanessa Redgrave and
The French cop
Rebecca Ferguson.
and the French cop.
And Katie O'Brien. But that is such a funny. I mean, I do love that sequence in Bisexual Submarine and Final Reckoning. Na that part where they're all just watching him shower quietly like this.
Take care of my suit.
And the seniors were like, ang ganda ng katawan. Kahit mo matanda na.
I do feel a little bad na they cast Katie O'Brien and it wasn't a fight scene.
Diba? She didn't even help him with that dude. So best villain, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Who's the second best?
Again, parang I think I'm a bit of a Lane fan just because he's
Lane
so pet.
fan si Ramon.
Yeah.
Ako
Such a
Walker
hater.
talaga.
Considering how bad his voice is, how squeaky he sounds, parang galing eh. Ano, it's just, I don't know, parang wala siyang pakialam eh. Okay. Okay, best MIT member.
Kasali si Ilsa ba dyan?
No. So it's pretty much gonna be one of
Benji or
two
Luther.
people. Yeah.
Hard.
I guess I'll go with Benji because he kind of grows the most as an arc. Especially when he starts, he's a tech, a nerd, and then he graduates to field agent in Ghost Pro, dying to use a mask, gets to in Fallout, and then by final, he's teaching Paris.
And they have some chemistry.
Well,
Mine is Luther because he knows Ethan's heart the most.
yeah.
He knows what's
Yeah.
best for Ethan the most.
And there's no one
I
else
think
who
I'm
can,
Luther
who can
also.
do an anti-god. So, God,
The
Yeah.
anti-god. Oh my god, I don't
But
give a
but
shit.
but Benji can create a floppy disk drive from scratch.
3D
He's
printing.
And best one movie MI person.
What do you mean one movie am I person?
You know, it's like si ano nga, Paula Patton, Maggie Q,
Lea Seydoux. Kalaban. Pwede ba? Actually, siya na lang yung second villain. Second best villain.
She is a great villain, I must say.
Oo.
But
No
but someone you
nonsense,
wish you saw more of,
Paula
basically.
Patton. Paula Patton / Maggie Q.
Yeah.
Oh,
They deserved second films.
yes. And last,
And I wanted to see Renner in Final Reckoning after
Yeah,
this.
kahit final. Like,
Oo
you're
nga
doing
eh.
so much, diba, backtracking. Why not?
diba?
Dapat ginawa na siyang vibe. He deserved
'Cause
to
they
be in
wanted
that
to kill
control
him.
room.
Pwedeng siya na yung CIA head now that president siya, no? Diba?
Oo.
They wanted to kill him in ano, diba? In
Fallout.
Dead or Fallout. Yeah, they wanted to kill him in Fallout.
And he said no thanks.
Yeah, he's like, no thanks. So I guess nagtampo. And best suspense set scene.
Oh my gosh, Langley.
Langley.
Parang Langley. Although, maganda talaga yung sub. Especially when
Maganda
they...
yung underwater sa
It's a
rogue.
rogue. Yeah.
Mm,
Oh,
Yeah.
maganda rin yan.
But in
okay.
terms of it being iconic, Langley talaga.
Langley it is. Okay. We will see you soon when we talk about The Last of Us. I think. Is that the next? I don't know. We'll
Probably.
see. With
Let's
our
force
BAM
it.
friends.
All right,
Good night,
guys.
everyone.
Our
Okay.
mission is accomplished. We've rewatched everything.
Not so impossible, after all. Dialogue that should have been in the franchise. Oh.